On April 2nd, 2020, I released a video. I realized over the last few years that I accepted a rather radical amount of responsibility. And I'm not sure why I felt the need to film this, I don't know, regular grooming that, if it wasn't for the events of the early part of this decade, would it be normal? You know, you go to a hairdresser, you get your barber, you get cut up. But I'm going to cut all my hair off and cut all my beard off. The last couple of years have been a little strange. A lot of my family died. I have a new house. Under that gnome over there lies my cousin, in ashes. It's illegal to bury corpses. It's the closest person that ever came to living my life. And he didn't survive. He didn't thrive either. After that video I put out on April 2nd, 2020, which I filmed on my birthday the day before, but you can't put anything else out on April Fools, hence why this is coming out today. I started growing my hair out, and my beard out. I've grown them out before, never this long. My cousin always had his hair long. It was one of the things that he fought for, and he had to fight for it. He got sick in his teens, like I did. Maybe worse, maybe less. Everybody's problems are the same size. Judgment is impossible. But I spent the last couple of years since that video getting ready. I spent those last couple of years building up. I'm going to grow my hair back and I'm going to grow my beard back, but there's a lot that needs to be done this year. And there's definitely a reminder that has to be had. I need to see something different in the mirror every day. I need to lose a little bit more weight. Need to do a lot more renovations on the house. And the world needs from me a lot of hours and a lot of work. So I'm going to shave my head and shave my beard, and we'll call it a reminder. You're welcome to come along for a transformation. It's a little cold out here today. I'm going to wear this as a cape because I'm not sitting down. Uh-huh. The most impossible of capes. Probably one hell of a microphone rustling coming under there. Here goes nothing. It'll be back in a year or two. But until then, it'll serve as a reminder of what commitments I made, what my commitments I'm making, and of how little time we all have left. Screw this cape. Is it fitting that a newly minted hillbilly hustler has the worst mullet ever? Whew, that's a lot. The funniest part is I don't know what this looks like yet, and I've got more blades to move through, but I must look a little bit silly. Okay, without being able to see my own head, I think that's the number 8 on my hair done. This is pristine. While my relatives were dying, my aunt and uncle, his parents, raised me like grandparents in the house I lived in now. My family came to complete pieces. I really realized how much they were all just weak pieces of shit. I know that's not kind, but it's simply true. They were born from a different age and built of different strength. For the modern age, they're brittle. And I received a lot of hate growing out my hair. My aunt even demanded on her deathbed that I cut it for her. I denied that, although I did burden my wife with her other request, which is looking after her cat forever. That thing pisses and shits everywhere. It's getting a lot better, though. Largely that was because the last couple of years of my aunt and uncle's life was a living hell. Just like the exact same life that the Andersons, my clan, come over from Denmark in the 60s and 70s. They've all been a living hell since time immemorial. Well, does time immemorial count since as early as you can remember? My great-grandfather came out of the Danish Civil War. My grandfather, the youngest of 12. My father, born during the war, World War II. These people were born of an age where monsters were required just to get by. And in the modern day, it's changed what it means to be an adult. It's now enlightenment or oblivion. Both individually and collectively. This one's gonna hurt the most. I love my beard. And I hate my chin. Better not to take my ear off there. Of course, technically, I'll see myself before this gets uploaded. But it really feels like everyone else is getting to see what I look like first. I quit my CFP, my professional designation. But I didn't stop my work. Technically, my CFP expired on March 31st. But I think I quit earlier than that. Ontario passed a law, not a regulation, a deeply authoritarian law that only those approved by the state may help others with finances. This is done to... there we go. There's a left and a right on these. This is done in the belief that only those from on high can decide what is safe for those of us down low. When I was a little boy, my friends watched VeggieTales. My father would rent VHSs from the library on World War II. When my friends were watching morals, I was watching Holocaust victims. When my friends were watching pastors, I was watching Hitler's most bombastic speeches and being told about the evils of our world and how much it was my responsibility to fight them. When I was 5, maybe 6, a few weeks before my grandfather had a stroke and wasn't himself anymore. And I love my grandfather. I didn't really have friends or anything like that. I couldn't speak. I wasn't a normal kid. And he took me aside one day and gave me a large speech. Not that we shared much of a language at all, but it's amazing how much kids and, well, it's amazing how much anybody can communicate, really. He told me about everyone having to lie or die when the Germans came. Keep in mind, these people were Danes. Most of their neighbors, the vast majority of them, were all too happy for the Germans to have come. Just like nowadays, the woke moralists have stolen my left from me. The left that I bled for. The left that I put my life on the line for. And not some puny political bullshit left. But I mean like simple progress. And not an anti-conservative progress. God knows, over the last 20 years I've become a lot of conservative in a lot of ways. So what happens when you look after people's lives for, well, since you're a child. But my grandfather told me I was the eldest of the eldest. Everyone was my responsibility. And interestingly, I understood. But I sure as fuck ran from it. I ran from it the same way we all run from everything. The same way the entire Western world runs from our responsibilities. We spend so much time trying to think through ways to make problems not our own. But at the simple brutality is my grandfather was wrong. Everyone wasn't my responsibility because I was the eldest of the eldest. Everyone was my responsibility because I'm a human being. And that makes me and you and everyone the most powerful, I must say confirmed, the most powerful known entity, creation, undulating waveform compressing a quantum reality on a slipstream out in front of us into a expansive headache of trying to wrap your head around a reality that you can't even perceive, for your sense organs lie. He was right. Everything was my responsibility. That's just the way things are. And I think a lot of things that everyone else finds sad and wrong or horrible or difficult. I think we're all just very, very, very young. Humanity only killed God a century ago. And now we are gods in utero. Is it any wonder that we owe so much of ourselves to everyone around us, to life itself, to the forestalling of entropy? I was ill-prepared for most of life's responsibilities. Although admittedly far more prepared than most. It's not bragging. I didn't have anything to do with who I was as a child. We were raised first by our parents and then by our community. And then we pop out into life something in our mid-20s, responsible for more than we can possibly imagine, and everyone around us wanting to avoid every responsibility. Because we have some delusion that life is made of things different than we want it to be. I clearly haven't had a script for this, but it's connected to what I've been thinking about the last couple years, what I've been working on. Accepting that it is the radical responsibility of every human being alive to look after all of life for all of time. That it's such an overwhelming task. The only chance in hell we have is to do our best and pick up all the rest. Judgment is definitively impossible, for our sense organs do not perceive reality. Yet we must make judgment to move forward and to act. I realized since that video I released on April 2nd of 2020 that I loved humanity. I loved life. But I hated our world. I hated a lot of things. I still do. Hate's a practice, born of many things, and to some measure it's virtue. For morality is not binary. Nothing is as simple as we make it. Each and every thought we have, with it we ignore the universe. With compression, artifacts are inherent. Hope is an organ, but faith is a practice. And a mandatory practice at that. For if you fail it, you abandon all life. Here's hoping I did an okay job. That feels strange after 3 years of growing it out. I cut it a few times, but never more than a bit. I love you all.